Guys and girls, good evening. What's going on, Ape Nation? It is September 11th, 2021. It's Saturday evening. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend so far, getting some R&R and not thinking about the line. And sure enough, here I come with a video. But I do want to discuss this thing about Fidelity and the transfer out of your current broker and into Fidelity. What are the pros and cons? And how would that affect the short squeeze? Could we see it be beneficial, or would it be a bad thing? And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm going to tell my personal story about 9/11. I was in New York that weekend, and I'm going to tell you guys exactly what happened to me. But before I get too far ahead of myself,
cue the speeder.
Hey, you just said that on camera. This going viral.
Guys, thank you so much for crushing it and getting me to 1,000 subscribers. If I haven't earned your subscription yet, this is the way. All right, guys, so let's jump right into this. Let me just say right off the rip, I think Fidelity might be one of the best brokers out there for retail investment. They have been excellent dealing with me for the last 2 months, and I don't even have an account with them. In the very short time frame of maybe the last week, I've had a little trouble getting a definitive answer about options and payment for order flow and whether or not they execute trades directly to the exchanges. But other than that, they have been absolutely fantastic. And like I said, I don't have an account with them. Full transparency, I use WEBULL and E-Trade. But I'm definitely thinking about switching over to Fidelity. I haven't done it yet, and let me tell you why. So just alone today, I've had 3 different phone conversations with customer service reps from Fidelity since the time I got out of work this afternoon. It's all been really good conversations. I asked each one of them, each individual customer service rep, 3 different questions. And first of all, we all know that Fidelity does not engage in payment for order flow. And I think that's had a massive, massive impact on supply and demand and the price action we've seen for AMC in the last 9 months. Because if you think about it, these brokerage firms were absolutely brilliant by offering these free stocks and getting YouTubers to offer free stocks, because they were out there pushing WEBULL and ROBINHOOD. They've been doing that since GME squeezed back in January. And they have been able to completely manipulate everything we have done since day one, meaning January 28th. And it's remarkable the campaign that they've been on, because they've been able to have complete control over the market for these 2 stocks. So you may be saying to yourself, well, Massalorian, why haven't you switched over to Fidelity? And let me tell you why. 2 things. First of all, every week that goes by, I keep thinking it's going to be the short squeeze. And I've had this itching feeling in the back of my brain, like, don't do it. Don't pull the trigger. You never know. It could be this week. It could just come out of nowhere like a thief in the night. And it hasn't happened yet. And it's been about 2 months now since I started considering doing this. And I'm possibly thinking about doing it on Monday. Now, according to the 3 people I spoke with today at Fidelity, it takes anywhere between 5 to 7 business days for smaller brokers and 2 to 3 business days for larger brokers. And WEBULL and E-Trade, according to the customer service people, are considered larger. Now, the 3 questions I asked all 3 different reps today were on options. Does Fidelity use payment for order flow? And I've gotten many different answers on this, and all I can say to you is do your DD. If you're thinking about making this move, call and get an assurance from them. Even record the phone call if you have to make sure that if you are trading options on whatever stock it is. I don't personally partake in that. I think options with AMC and GME is way too risky. I've never bought an option for AMC or GME. And I'm glad I haven't, because I probably would have got crushed. So what I would say is do your own DD, do your research, call and find out for yourself, because I've gotten different answers about this over the last 2 months. As of recent, they have been saying that they do not use payment for order flow on options, but I would definitely call myself, don't take my word for it. Now, the second question I asked him was, does Fidelity go directly to the exchanges in order to execute trades? And 2 months ago when I first called, they had said that it depended on what type of price they were trying to get for you. But as of today, all 3 reps I talked to said that Fidelity goes directly to the exchanges in order to execute trades, whether it be Chicago, Boston, New York, wherever. They only go right to the exchanges, which means that going through Fidelity puts supply and demand back into the hand of the retailer. Again, with this question, I would call yourself and make sure you get a guarantee on that. I would like to get something in writing for them, but so far it hasn't come. I've asked for an email on that, and I have not received it as of today. So I'm still waiting for that. So I would say get a guarantee yourself if you want to know that for sure. The third thing I asked them was, hypothetically, let's say that you had maybe, 500,000 customers who wanted to transfer out of their current brokerage app into Fidelity. If the brokerage app that you are using currently, hypothetically speaking, didn't have the physical shares of the stock that you're trying to transfer, that would force them to find those shares immediately and send them to Fidelity. Say it was WEBULL, and for some reason, those shares that they have are actually FTDs or synthetics, or they got sent to the DTCC clearinghouse. Whatever the case may be, would they have to locate those shares immediately to transfer over to Fidelity? And everyone in unison answered yes to this question. Which means if there were to be a huge movement of apes moving from their current brokerage apps to Fidelity, that could have huge implications on the greater market as far as how many shares of the actual float out there have been covered and aren't just numbers on a computer screen. Because technically that's not market manipulation. That's we like the broker, right? Kind of like we like the stock. If we went on to YouTube, let's say, and we got, 10 or 20 or 30 different channels all to pick a day or a week that we were going to transfer, how much effect would that have on supply and demand of the stock? Because a slow transfer and then people buying now isn't going to have that much of an effect on AMC squeezing so hard that we turn to the MOASS. But if they had to find, all of a sudden locate, let's say 100 million shares, because they actually have to find them to give to the new brokerage app you're using, there's a possibility that could cause a real rise in AMC's price. Now, I'm not insinuating that anyone do that yet or anything like that. If you want to transfer over to Fidelity, go for it. I think they, so far, especially for me, not having an actual account with them, their customer service has been really good. There's just a couple things here and there. But overall, going forward, if you really want to have an impact on the market and feel like your trades mean something, according to what I've been told by them, if they're going directly to the exchange, then that's immediate buying pressure. Supply and demand comes back into play with any stock that you're buying. And that way you're actually having an effect on the market. I remember back a couple months ago in June when AMC was trying to break $40 and I was buying it at $40 or $39.50 to try to push it over the edge. I remember saying to myself, oh man, I got to buy some shares right now so we can get this thing over 40. And looking back at it now, I have no idea that I made any impact on that price movement that day in any way, shape, or form, because I bought those stocks through WEBULL. Those shares were executed by WEBULL, who uses payment for order flow, and more than likely went through Virtu or Citadel or any one of the other market makers out there. So bottom line, I think Fidelity is a good company. They're from Boston. Of course they're a good company. But no, really, I honestly, I think in my honest opinion, they've been very good with customer service. And the fact that they're not charging you, and I asked them, how do you guys make money if you're not using payment for order flow and it's not commission based? And basically he was saying that we hope that by providing you with these free services, you will continue to open different types of accounts with us. And that way we build a lasting relationship between Fidelity and yourself with the retail investor. So I really have nothing really bad to say about them, but of course the decision is yours in the end of what you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you what to do specifically. You do what you want to do. But in my opinion, is Fidelity a great option? Yes. Is there some risk involved? Yes. That's why I haven't transferred yet, is because I keep getting nervous about getting caught in limbo between the squeeze. Oh, and let me say this before I forget. I asked him and said, so what happens in that period when you're transferring out your shares from one brokerage into Fidelity? And I said, have you ever had an issue with that? And he said, back in January, after GameStop closed and people were pissed at Robinhood, a lot of transfers weren't going through because Robinhood didn't have the actual physical shares. So what does that tell you about what could be going on right now with AMC? Does Robinhood have all those AMC shares right now, literally? Is there something going on between Melvin and Virtu and Citadel? And those physical shares have not even been located yet? Have they been delayed for the last 60, 90 days? Who knows? We know the manipulation and corruption that's going on. Who can actually say? But I was told that that was going on back in the beginning of February, that they were having issues with Robinhood actually getting physical shares, you know what I mean by physical, to transfer over. So I thought that was extremely interesting. All right, guys, so I'm going to try to tell you my 9/11 story really quick so I don't keep you too long. Back in the spring of 2001, me and a couple buddies had got together, and at this time, the pennant race was starting to heat up. It was probably like early June, and there was a good chance that the Yankees and the Red Sox were going to be fighting for control of the AL East, and a pennant race was going to be heating up around the beginning of September, maybe middle of September. And the Red Sox were going to play the Yankees on the weekend of September 8th. It was a 4-game set. It was going Friday to Monday. And it just happened that on the Monday night, September 10th, Roger Clemens, who is the Rocket, which was one of my favorite players growing up. I loved Roger Clemens. Even kind of still when he went to the Yankees, I didn't like him against the Red Sox, but I still loved the Rocket. I just thought he was the man. And it was exciting. Pedro Martinez was going to pitch against Roger Clemens. Clemens was going for a 20th victory of the season. He was going to do it against his old team. And so we decided to get tickets for the 4-game set. And we did that. And we drove down to New York on Friday. We went to Saturday and Sunday's games. I believe they were both afternoon games on Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday Night Baseball was going to be Roger Clemens versus Pedro Martinez on September 10th, 2001. And that afternoon, the heavens opened up and it started pouring and did not stop. All night Monday night and all day Monday day, it poured in New York. And they ended up canceling the Red Sox-Yankees game. And they weren't going to reschedule it, I think, for a little while. So what happened was, because they just played 3 in a row. So me and my buddies decided to check out of the hotel early. And we were going to go back to Boston. And that's exactly what we did. For some whatever reason, I was staying halfway between Midtown and the World Trade Center at a Sheraton. And for whatever reason, it decided to rain that day really hard enough where George Steinbrenner decided he would rather cancel the game than at least get some concessions in the first couple hours, which meant that we probably would have stayed and possibly just stayed the night, because we would have already been inside the ballpark, and it would have been too early or too late actually to leave. So whoever was watching out for me, I appreciate that. And that's my little short 9/11 story. Never got to see Roger Clemens and Pedro Martinez go off against each other. I just hope all those people are resting in peace right now, and a lot of heroes who sacrificed themselves to help save others. You're in our memories, and your families are in our prayers. And I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening, the rest of your weekend. I'll be back tomorrow afternoon with another video. And I just want to say, we got a fight coming up next week. So in the words of Tom Beamer, let's roll. We got an enemy we're going to take out, and they're going to be up for a fight this week. So be ready for it. And that's all I've got for tonight. This is Ape Nation. I'm the Massalorian, and I'm out.